This is the story of a monkey who, despite living in the world of humans, was more loyal and loving than most of them. In a village, an old woman named Sakina lived with her husband. Sakina had 3 daughters. Her husband was a Madari, a street performer, who made a living by showing monkey tricks. He loved his monkey very much, just like his own child. He had raised the monkey since it was little. Sakina also treated the monkey like her own son. One day, the Madari took the monkey to another town for work. After performing a show in a nearby village while returning home, he suddenly suffered a heart attack and collapsed to the ground. The monkey cried, panicked, and screamed, "What happened to my master?" But the Madari had already left this world. Back home, Sakina and her daughters were devastated. They wept bitterly. The monkey tried to comfort everyone, but Sakina was the most worried. "My young beautiful daughters, how will I raise them now? I've lost the head of our household. If nothing else, their father at least brought home enough for us to eat with dignity." After a few days, with patience and faith, Sakina decided that she would start selling samosas in her village. And the beloved monkey, like a true son, was ready to help her. He understood Sakina's troubles very well. He placed his hand gently on hers, as if to assure her that he would stand by her like a son. Sakina gathered some money from here and there, and bought the ingredients to make samosas. She and the monkey stayed up all night preparing them. By the time daylight broke, Sakina placed the tray of samosas on the monkey's head, and stepped out of the house. She also took her youngest daughter along. All 3 of Sakina's daughters were young and beautiful. Sakina, the monkey, and her daughter made their way to the market. Along the way, Sakina called out to sell samosas, but her old, tired voice didn't carry far. However, she did notice one thing. Instead of looking at the samosas, people were staring at her daughter. The daughter, feeling nervous and uncomfortable, tried to hide herself in her shawl. In just a little while, some shady and immoral men, some young men, gathered around Sakina. "How much for her, old woman?" one of them said, stepping forward. Sakina told them the price of the samosas. The 3 boys slapped each other's hands and burst out laughing. "Oh, old woman, we're asking about your daughter's price, not these useless samosas the monkey is carrying. You might as well feed these to the monkey," one of them said, and shoved a samosa into the monkey's mouth. Another one stepped forward and grabbed Sakina's daughter. Sakina was terrified, and her daughter screamed in fear. The monkey saw everything, and was overcome with rage. He threw the tray of samosas from his head onto the ground and immediately attacked the boys. Seeing the monkey charge at them, the boys panicked. The monkey used his long, sharp nails to injure them badly, but in the scuffle, Sakina's daughter's clothes were torn. She was deeply ashamed and crying uncontrollably. A crowd gathered, watching the whole scene like it was a spectacle. The boys, now wounded, ran away, but Sakina felt like mourning her fate. The samosas were ruined, covered in dirt, and people were still staring at her daughter's torn clothes. "There's no point staying here now. We should just go home," Sakina thought with a heavy heart as she turned to leave. But her fate had something worse in store. Suddenly, she tripped and fell backwards into a large pit. A painful scream escaped her throat. She was old, and her bones were already fragile. The fall fractured her leg badly. The monkey, seeing all this, became desperately restless. He jumped into the pit again and again, trying to lift Sakina, then rushing out to gesture to people for help. Tears streamed from his eyes. It truly seemed like he was her own son, but no one stepped forward to help. People were only fixated on her daughter. Finally, exhausted and hopeless, the monkey climbed down into the pit himself, and with great effort, dragged Sakina out. Her leg was seriously injured. She was exhausted. Whenever she tried to place her foot on the ground, she cried out in pain. In the same crowd, a middle-aged man had been standing silently, watching everything with deep attention. Suddenly, he stepped forward and said, "Stop, monkey. Where are you trying to take this woman?" The monkey, who had been desperately trying to lift Sakina, began making gestures, indicating that their home was not far from there. The man advised the monkey, "There's a vegetable cart of mine nearby. I sell vegetables in the village with it. Use that to take your mother home." He helped the monkey lift Sakina onto the cart, and headed with them toward their house. Sakina's daughter, trying to hide herself from all the staring eyes, also made her way home. The man dropped Sakina off at her house and left, but all three of her daughters gathered around her and broke down in tears. Sakina had tears in her eyes too. Seeing her distress and restlessness, the monkey couldn't bear it any longer. He suddenly ran out of the house, found a nearby doctor, and dragged him home by the hand. As soon as the doctor arrived, he examined Sakina's leg and said with concern, "Her leg bone is broken. I'm sure you don't have the money to pay for a big hospital. I'll treat her with the resources I have, but she won't be able to walk for the next 3 months." The doctor's words dimmed everyone's faces. Sakina was the only source of income. If she was confined to bed, who would earn? But her treatment was also necessary. The monkey gently placed his hand on the doctor's and nodded. The doctor called for his car and took Sakina to the hospital. He was a kind-hearted man and an old acquaintance of Sakina's late husband. He paid for her treatment out of his own pocket. After getting a cast on her leg, Sakina returned home and was bound to her bed. The burden of 3 young daughters and the stress of her condition started taking a toll on her health. The monkey watched all of this in silence, but couldn't do anything. Finally, one day his patience ran out. "The samosas that Amma Sakina used to make and sell, I will sell them now," the monkey promised himself. He rushed into the kitchen. The ingredients were still there. Luckily, everything he needed was available. He quickly began preparing the samosas. He stayed up all night working on them. By early morning, they were ready. He arranged them neatly on a tray and headed out of the house. Before leaving, he gestured to Sakina's daughters not to go outside unless absolutely necessary. As soon as he stepped into the street with the tray on his head, the neighborhood children burst into laughter. "Look, the monkey's putting on a new act today. Let's pull his tail," one child said to another. The monkey got nervous as the kids surrounded him from all sides. Every time he moved away, another child tried to grab his tail. When he tried to dodge them, the samosas began to fall. He became anxious. Finally, he placed the tray on the ground and charged at the children to scare them off. The children got scared and ran away. The monkey was panting from just that little bit of effort. He picked up the tray of samosas again and went from street to street, calling out to sell them. People heard his calls and turned around, watching him with curiosity. "Look at that. What kind of monkey is this selling samosas on his head?" People stopped to watch the strange sight, but no one was ready to buy anything. A little girl saw the samosas and begged her father, "Abu, I want to eat the samosa that the monkey is selling." As the girl insisted, the monkey quickly picked up a samosa from the tray and held it out to her. But the man recoiled in disgust. "Ugh, how filthy this monkey is. Get that samosa away from us. Who knows what dirty hands made it? I feel sick just thinking about it. Who eats something made by an animal?" He looked at the monkey with contempt and drove him away. Startled and heartbroken, the monkey picked up the tray again and kept wandering through the streets. But no one bought anything. Tears welled up in his eyes. It was already afternoon, and he hadn't sold a single samosa. Tired and defeated, he made his way to the big marketplace, the same one he had visited just yesterday with Sakina. He wandered through the bazaar, searching for a customer, but again, no one bought his samosas. Instead, people laughed at him and chased him away. As evening began to fall, the monkey, exhausted and hopeless, placed the tray of samosas on the ground and sat on a stone nearby. Tears streamed down his cheeks. If the samosas don't sell today, there won't be anything to cook at home tonight. Amma and my sisters will go to sleep hungry. This thought wouldn't let him rest. He knew that Sakina had no son, and in such difficult times only he could be their support. The monkey was lost in his own thoughts when suddenly, he became alert. Someone was standing in front of him, looking at him with curious eyes. "Who are you? And why are you carrying samosas around like this? Did you run away from some street performer?" A well-dressed man stood before him. Judging by his appearance, he seemed to be a wealthy person. The monkey quickly held out the tray of samosas to him and through gestures tried to explain, "Please buy these samosas. There's nothing to eat at home." The man's curiosity grew even more. "Looks like you're out here to earn a living. Tell me, what's the story?" Seeing his genuine interest, The monkey gestured and explained everything about his home situation. The man suddenly smiled. "Wow, you're quite something. Do one thing. Bring all these samosas to my shop. I own a sweet shop, and I need samosas every day." He picked one up and took a bite. His facial expression changed instantly. "Wow, this is delicious. I'll buy all of these," he said, quickly pulling out money from his pocket and handing it to the monkey. The monkey's eyes widened in surprise. He excitedly picked up the entire tray and rushed off toward the shop with the man. The monkey delivered the samosas to the shop. The shopkeeper made a firm deal with him. "Now you must bring samosas to my shop every day, and I will pay you in return." This was a moment of great joy for the monkey. Evening was falling, and with the money clutched tightly in his hand, he ran home quickly. He was certain that as soon as the family saw the money, they would be overjoyed. But the moment he stepped inside the house, he was taken aback. Sitting on a chair next to Sakina's bed in the courtyard was a man. The same man who had helped bring Sakina home on his cart the other day. As soon as the man saw the monkey, an odd expression came over his face. The monkey quietly walked over and sat on Sakina's bed. Through gestures, he asked the man why he was in their home. He also glanced toward his sisters, who were busy with household chores. From the monkey's body language, the man understood that he was the head of the house. He stepped forward and said, "I want to marry Sakina. I like this woman. My wife passed away a long time ago. I have no children. In these girls I see daughters, and I'll have a companion for my lonely days." These words struck the monkey like a mountain crashing down. He looked over at Sakina, and on her face he saw signs of agreement. Perhaps Sakina had become overwhelmed by their circumstances and was longing for a man who could become a support for them. She accepted the man's proposal. The monkey was shocked, but he couldn't say a word. His heart only worried for his mother and sisters. He thought to himself, what if this man had hidden intentions? But Sakina married the man. He would sell vegetables all day, and in the evenings return home and talk with Sakina. When the daughters served him food, he ate with pleasure. The first few days passed peacefully. The monkey also began regularly delivering samosas to the sweet shop and was earning a decent income. One day, he came home a little earlier than usual. When he entered through the door, his eyes fell on the area where his sister's room was. Sakina's new husband, Fard, was standing at that doorway peeking inside. Why is he standing here? The monkey wondered. He quickly stepped forward and let out a soft, sharp sound, almost like a shout. The man was startled and turned around in a panic. The moment he saw the monkey, the color drained from his face, and he bolted out of the house. The monkey was filled with intense anger. He had to see for himself why the man had been standing there. He crept up quietly to the doorway, opened the door just a little, and the sight before him made his hair stand on end. His sisters were asleep on the bed. Because they were sleeping, their clothes were disheveled. Any man with ill intentions could have easily taken advantage of the situation. The monkey's blood boiled. He became certain that this man had bad intentions toward his sisters. He went straight to Sakina's room, where she was taking her medicines. The monkey thought this was a good moment to talk to her. Through gestures, he told Sakina what the man had been doing. At first, Sakina was shocked, then quickly became angry. "You've become way too suspicious," she snapped. "You've forgotten how to think like a human. That man thinks of them like his daughters. Maybe he needed something and was just checking in." Sakina scolded the monkey. She had begun to trust her new husband a great deal. The monkey, with a heavy heart, walked out of the house. But now he had made up his mind. He would keep a close watch on Fard at all times. Fard would go out with his vegetable cart and return only in the evening. The monkey made it his mission to reach home before Fard did every day. Whenever Fard saw the monkey wandering around the house, a bitter expression would cross his face. The monkey was now determined to find matches for his sisters and get them married as soon as possible. One day, when the monkey arrived at the sweet seller's shop with his tray of samosas, he saw a handsome young man standing there. As soon as the man saw the monkey, he warmly extended his hand toward him. "How are you, my friend?" he asked. The monkey was delighted. He gestured toward the sweet seller and asked, "Who is this?" The shopkeeper laughed and said, "Oh, this is my son. I actually have two more. They're triplets. Right now I'm looking for brides for them." Hearing this, The monkey's heart leapt with joy. This is wonderful news, he thought. If my 3 sisters marry into this sweet seller's family, it would be perfect. The boys seem very decent too. But then the thought struck him. This man probably won't let his sons marry my sisters without a dowry. Worry spread across the monkey's face. Though he made some money selling samosas, it was barely enough to cover household expenses. He spent the entire day lost in thought and anxiety. He couldn't keep his sisters at home much longer. Their honor and safety were both at risk. Thinking this over, he went to see a carpenter who made furniture and other household items. Seeing the monkey in his shop, the carpenter laughed out loud, but the monkey gestured to ask what would be needed to make a full set of dowry furniture. The carpenter casually replied, "If I provide the wood, it'll be expensive, but if you bring the wood yourself, I'll make it for you for free." The carpenter had casually said, "I'll make the furniture for you." But the monkey's mind lit up with a new idea. The next day, as soon as he delivered the samosas to the sweet seller's shop, he hurried off to the nearby forest. The forest was filled with tall trees. The monkey had brought a sickle, which he used to cut the vegetables at home. He started chopping down the trees one by one. It was hard work, but he kept going, cutting down the trees and gathering the wood. Once he had secured enough wood for the dowry furniture, another concern came to his mind. On the wedding day, many guests would surely need to be fed. At home, they barely managed to make ends meet with just dal and roti. The monkey sat in the market, troubled by the thought. That's when an unexpected man grabbed him by the shoulder. "This monkey is quick. Come with me, show me your dance, and I'll give you money," the man said. He introduced himself as a street performer, a Madari, just like the monkey's old master. The monkey extended his hand and gestured to ask, "How much will you give me?" The Madari told him that he would get half of the daily earnings. The monkey was pleased and thought, "I'll gather that money and use it to arrange the food for my sister's weddings." Every day, after delivering samosas to the sweet seller, the monkey would head out with the Madari. The man would make him dance in the streets and neighborhoods. As he danced, the monkey grew tired. Blood would start to ooze from his feet, but driven by the promise of money, he kept dancing, making rounds through the whole village. One day, while dancing, he overheard someone saying that the Madari's son would cook for the wedding feast. The monkey jumped up in joy. He thought, "When I marry off my sisters, this man will cook the wedding feast for free. In exchange, he won't take the daily earnings from me anymore." What objection could there be? The Madari began making the monkey dance for free. The monkey would make rounds through the whole village, and then head straight to the forest. There he would chop wood one tree at a time. As evening approached, the whole day would pass, and it was time for him to head to Firdau's house. The monkey would quickly leave the work unfinished and return home. Firdaus, in the presence of the monkey, couldn't find a moment to act. He had started becoming more suspicious, while on the other hand, the monkey spent day and night trying to chop the wood as quickly as possible, so he could make the dowry for his sisters and start thinking about their marriages. Firdaus would get very angry when he saw the monkey, because he would stay up all night making samosas and at the same time keeping an eye on his sisters. Every morning when Firdaus left the house, the monkey would carry his tray of samosas and head to the market. At that time, Sakina would wake up. Firdaus couldn't find an opportunity to make a move on Sakina's daughters. Every day, after delivering the samosas, the monkey would head straight to the forest. Gradually, he had chopped enough wood to prepare dowries for all 3 of his sisters. The day he finished cutting the last of the wood for his sisters' dowries, he was extremely happy. The next morning, he planned to take all the wood to the carpenter's shop, and soon after, he would ask the sweet seller for his sister's marriage proposals. The monkey was happily thinking about this as he returned home. That same day, Firdaus sat on his cot, glaring at the monkey. The monkey, too, was busy making samosas for the next day. Both stayed up all night. The next morning, Sakina had to go to the doctor, and her 2 elder daughters told the youngest, "You're smart and know the outer paths well. Take mom to the doctor. We'll take care of things at home." The youngest daughter agreed. The monkey had to visit the carpenter's shop that day. He gestured to his little sister, "Go carefully. If I wasn't busy, I'd go with you." The monkey patted his little sister's head, signaling her to go, and then Taking the tray, he rushed out. He sprinted towards the forest. But from a distance, he saw dark clouds of smoke rising from the jungle. People were running away from the forest. The monkey became extremely worried. What has happened? He thought. My wood was there. The monkey, panic-stricken, ran towards the jungle. Look, the monkey is heading to the jungle. Stop him. There's a fire in there, people yelled. But the monkey, blind with panic, rushed into the smoke-filled jungle. When he reached there, his eyes widened in shock. There was fire everywhere, with thick clouds of smoke rising. The place where he had chopped dry wood and piled it into a heap was where the fire was the fiercest. Perhaps the heat of the season had sparked the fire in the forest. The monkey panicked, and a scream escaped his lips. This is my sister's dowry. He rushed forward and tried to jump into the fire to retrieve the wood. But the wood had already burned. As people who were trying to put out the fire entered the jungle, they were shocked to see the monkey. Stop him. Catch the monkey. He might die. Maybe his home is here, people shouted. Someone rushed forward and grabbed him. The monkey was crying desperately, trying to save the wood, but his skin was burned in several places. He was shouting and crying, "Let me go. My sister's dowry is burned. How will their marriage happen now?" The people couldn't understand him. They picked him up and threw him out of the jungle. Crying bitterly, the monkey returned home. As soon as he entered through the door, a loud scream was heard. The monkey looked up in alarm and saw that Firdaus was dragging his elder sister into the room, while the other sister was trying to stop him. Today, your cursed monkey isn't home, and old Sakina is also gone. Today, I won't let you escape. Firdaus, like a mad bull, was dragging her inside. Blood boiled in the monkey's eyes. He had the sickle that he used to chop wood. Without thinking, he threw it at Firdaus. The sickle struck Firdaus right in the head. Blood spurted out, and he collapsed to the ground, clutching his head in pain. The monkey's sister, who was standing behind, seized the opportunity. She picked up a piece of wood that had been lying by the stove and hit Firdaus hard on the head. Firdaus groaned in pain, but he realized that his plan was failing. Holding his head, he staggered out of the house. The two sisters, crying, rushed to the monkey and hugged him tightly. If it weren't for you today, we don't know what would have happened, they wept. The monkey comforted them by stroking their heads, but his own heart was shattered. A while later, Sakina and the younger sister returned. When they saw the situation at home, they were stunned. The daughters, still crying, told Sakina everything. The old woman also burst into tears. Oh, my fate! What kind of man did I let into my house? What will happen now? Everyone was extremely distressed. Just then there was a knock at the door. When the door opened, it was the sweet seller, accompanied by 3 young men who all looked very happy, as if they had come to share some special news. Seeing everyone so distressed, they all fell silent. The monkey quickly stepped forward and asked, "What have you done to yourself? How did you end up in this situation?" The sweet seller asked in surprise. Tears welled up in the monkey's eyes, and he conveyed the whole story with gestures, how he had collected firewood for his sister's dowry in the jungle, and how it had burned. The sweet seller's eyes also filled with tears. His sons, standing beside him, looked at the monkey in astonishment. "Why did you do all this?" "I had come today to ask for your sister's hand in marriage for my 3 sons, the sweet seller continued. The monkey felt as though honey had entered his ears. The sweet seller went on, "I am a very wealthy man. I don't need dowries. Yes, if you want your sisters to be married, I can take care of the arrangements. But I have one condition." The monkey, along with everyone else, was stunned by the sudden twist in the story. The sweet seller continued, "What is the price for the dowry? You will pay for it." He pointed to the monkey. The monkey bowed his head, as if to say, "I am always ready for my sisters and my old mother." The sweet seller's sons were very handsome and good-natured. Sakina, seeing their simplicity and kindness, was extremely happy and eagerly accepted their proposal for her daughters. However, the monkey was troubled. He didn't know what price the sweet seller was talking about. True to his word, the sweet seller provided a magnificent dowry for the monkey's sisters. When the time came for their farewell, the monkey stepped forward and took the sweet seller's hand. "What was the price you were talking about?" the monkey asked with gestures. The sweet seller laughed loudly and said, The price is you. I want you to work for me, not as a servant, but as my son. I have seen that in today's world, even real children are not as capable and loving as you are. Such loyalty is hard to find. From now on, you are my son." The sweet seller placed his hand on the monkey's head, and tears filled the monkey's eyes. "I am ready to pay such a price with joy," the monkey thought. The three sisters were happy and content in their new homes. They had also taken their mother with them. The monkey, like a son, worked at the sweet seller's shop and remained loyal to his new family. He fulfilled his duties with utmost sincerity, and his devotion to his new family remained unwavering.